The night sky above the capital world, Veltrax Prime, was clear. Stars blinked like tiny eyes, cold and silent. People walked home, finished their jobs, or stared at the glowing towers that touched the sky. It was a normal night until something strange appeared. At exactly 20:07 Imperial Time, a giant ship appeared in the sky. It came without sound, without light, and without warning. One moment the sky was empty. The next, a dark shape blocked the stars. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It simply was there. People stopped walking. Cars halted in the streets. Soldiers aimed their rifles. Children cried. Scientists ran toward observatories. The strange ship just floated above the city, black, silent, and smooth. It had no engines, no markings, no flags. Then, just as suddenly as it came, it vanished. Only 37 seconds had passed. But that short time was enough to shake the Empire inside the Grand Citadel. Emperor Varn stood facing a large screen. His eyes were fixed on the footage. It played again and again, the ship appearing, hovering, and disappearing. It did not send a signal, he asked. No, Your Grace, said General Arvik. No signal, no ID tag, nothing. We scanned for all frequencies. It ignored everything. Did it use a cloaking device? The Emperor asked, now folding his hands tightly. We don't think so. It was real, physical. Radar confirmed mass displacement. What kind of technology moves something like that in and out of space with no trace? The Emperor whispered. Silence. No one had an answer. In the science division, Dr. Lyra Khan stared at her data. She was not a soldier. She didn't care about war. But this ship. It had done something she didn't understand. And that scared her more than any weapon. She adjusted her scanner and replayed the sky footage. Her eyes narrowed. There was something wrong with the clouds in the area where the ship had hovered. She switched to ultraviolet mode. There it was, a glowing mark left in the air, like a burned signature in invisible ink. Symbol she had never seen before. She gasped. The mark was not fading. It was growing. She backed away from the screen. This is not just a ship, she whispered hours later at a top security base on the outer ring. A problem occurred. General Merrick, commander of the 9th Fleet, did not report for the scheduled command briefing. Security checked his quarters. Empty, no alarm had been triggered. No signs of entry or exit. The cameras had gone black for exactly 37 seconds. Same time, the ship had appeared. Same exact duration. Back in the Citadel, Emperor Varn stared out over the city. He had ruled for 20 years, fought 3 rebellions, crushed uprisings, defeated pirates. But this made his skin cold. He turned to General Arvik. We must not let this reach the public. No panic, no news. Yes, Your Grace. Send a covert team. I want answers. Who made that ship? Where did it go? And why did it come here? General Arvik nodded, but his eyes showed fear. The same fear everyone felt but didn't speak. Later that night, in a small lab deep underground, Lyra received a secret file from a friend in Deep Space Command. It was a satellite log. One of the Empire's deep-range satellites, Echo 9, had captured a strange signal right before going offline. The signal lasted only a second. But it was clear, for words, they are watching now. The satellite exploded 5 seconds later. Lyra stood alone, staring at the words. The mark in the sky was still glowing. The missing general was still gone. The ship had appeared for just 37 seconds. But somehow, in that short moment, it had changed everything. She She knew this was just the beginning, and somewhere, out in the cold stars, whatever that ship was, it was not done yet. A red light blinked in the silent hallway of Base Archon 7. Guards stood near the doors, confused and tense. The base had gone into code grain at full alert, but something close. It meant something was wrong, but no one knew. What? General Merrick, leader of the Ninth Fleet, was missing. His room was locked from the inside. No windows, no open doors. Security footage showed him walking into his room at 22 o'clock. After that, nothing. The cameras went black for exactly 37 seconds. When they turned back on, he was gone. No sign of struggle, no sound, no message. Just vanished. In the Empire control tower, Lyra Khan looked over the report. She wasn't a soldier, but she was now working directly with the investigation team. Strange ship, the glowing mark in the sky, and now this disappearance. It was all connected. She could feel it. She pulled up satellite data again. She had marked the location of the sky symbol from Part 1. Now she zoomed out, trying to find patterns. Then something caught her eye. A signal spiked near Sector X, an area known as a dead zone. No colonies, no signals, no traffic. The Empire had long banned access there after a failed mining mission years ago, but now the signal was alive. It pulsed once, then stopped. The Emperor sat in his dark chamber, lights dimmed, only the soft glow of star maps around him. "They took my general," he whispered. General Arvik nodded. "We believe the same force that created the unknown ship is involved." "I want that signal investigated," the Emperor said, but quietly. "No public missions. No panic." Arvik gave a firm nod. "We'll send the Black Dagger, sir. Fast, small, no tracking. Captain Drell will lead, and take that scientist. Lyra. She sees what we don't." Captain Drell was not an easy man. He had scars on his face and a voice that sounded like grinding metal. He didn't like scientists. He didn't trust anything that couldn't shoot or fly. But orders were orders. He met Lyra at the dock. "Stay out of the way, keep quiet, and don't touch anything," he growled. Lyra nodded, but her eyes were sharp. Wasn't afraid of him. She was afraid of something else, something waiting in Sector X. The Black Dagger slipped out of orbit and into deep space. It was a quiet journey, too quiet. Even the stars looked colder. Inside the ship, the crew was nervous. They whispered about the ship that came and vanished, about the missing general, about Lyra. She noticed one thing immediately: a girl on the ship who wasn't on the crew list. She sat alone in the shadows. Pale skin, silver eyes, no name tag, no one else seemed to see her. That night, Lyra followed her into the cargo bay. "You don't belong here," Lyra said quietly. The girl looked at her with calm, emotionless eyes. "Neither do you." The ship arrived at Sector X after 9 hours of silence. The area was dark, filled with dead rocks and broken mining equipment. But near the center, something floated, black cubes, dozens of them. They moved slowly in space. No engines, no heat. But they hummed a low vibration that made your teeth hurt. Captain Drell launched a drone. The moment it touched a cube, the drone shut down. Lyra scanned the cubes. "They're alive," she whispered. "Not machines. Not fully. Something in between." Drell ignored her and sent a man out in a suit. "Bad idea." The man reached toward the cube. The moment his hand touched it, he screamed. His eyes rolled back. He floated in space, shaking. Then, in a strange, hollow voice, he whispered a word. "Thraxis." Then he passed out. They pulled him back in, but he wouldn't wake up. His heartbeat was normal. Brain activity - unreadable. Lyra froze when she heard the word. Thraxis. It was a name from old Empire legends. Species said to be wiped out 2,000 years ago. A war so terrible the records were sealed forever. The silver-eyed girl stepped out of the shadows again. "You should not have come here," she said softly. Captain Drell aimed his gun at her. "Who are you?" She didn't flinch. "I am one of them," she said. "You're Thraxis?" Lyra asked in shock. "No, but they made me. Half of me is Thraxis. Half of me is what you call human. The crew froze. It's not possible, Drell said. It is, the girl answered. And this is only the beginning.
Aside the ship, the cubes began to spin slowly. They were waking up.
Lyra turned to Drell. We need to leave now. But before he could respond, the ship's systems went dark. Lights flickered. Engines powered down, and in the black silence, a deep voice echoed through the coms. We see you now. The black dagger floated helplessly in the cold dark of Sector X. All power was gone. No lights, no engines, no communications. Outside, the black cubes spun slowly, glowing with strange symbols. The crew sat in silence, afraid to move. Inside the ship, Lyra stood frozen. Her heart beat fast. She looked at the silver-eyed girl who had just said the impossible. I am half Thraxis. Captain Drell didn't believe her, but he didn't speak either. His weapon was still pointed at her, but his hand was shaking. Tell us what's going on, Lyra demanded. The girl nodded slowly. The Empire erased the truth. But truth always comes. Back on Veltrax Prime, Emperor Varn sat in the war room. General Arvik had just given him a new report. It was old, buried in Level 7 archives, only accessible with the highest command codes. Top secret codename Thraxis War? The Emperor stared at the files. He had never heard of this war. It was hidden, sealed away. Even he hadn't known. Over 2,000 years ago, the Empire had not yet begun. Humanity had spread fast, building colonies, machines, fleets. But then, they met something the THRX is alien. Strange, not just a species, but something more. Their minds could link across space. They spoke without words. They didn't use machines. They grew them. The humans tried to study them, then tried to control them when the Thraxis refused. Humanity made a choice, war, and they won, but only by using a weapon so terrible that records of it were deleted. From all public systems, the cost, not just lives, but memory. The humans erased everything, even Earth, even their own past. Back in Sector 9, the girl finally spoke again. Her voice was quiet, almost sad. My name is Ina. I was created by what you would call a human lab. They mixed Thraxis DNA with human genes to make something stable. Something that could live long and watch silently, Lyra asked. Watch what? Ina looked at her with glowing eyes. For the right time. For when the Empire became blind. Suddenly, the cubes outside began to form a pattern. Circle. A signal. The lights on the ship flickered on. Then the navigation screen lit up and displayed a new location. Lyra stared. She couldn't believe it. Earth's Captain Drell frowned. Earth is a myth. No, Lyra said. It's real. It was erased. Ina nodded. The map was hidden in the cubes. The ship that appeared over your capital, the one that vanished it, was not alien. What do you mean? Drell asked. Ina's voice was calm. That ship was built by humans. Long ago, from Earth. The Emperor read more of the secret file. The last page made his hands shake. Final pulse status. Unknown, he slammed his fist on the table. What is final pulse? General Arvik spoke carefully. It was a last resort defense. Ship made before the Empire. AI controlled. Designed to sleep until Earth was in danger. Oh. But Earth is dead. The Emperor shouted. RVE didn't answer. The black dagger turned toward Earth. The cube signal had activated a new flight path hidden from normal space lanes. The engines now glowed with soft green light, guided by something unseen, as they approached the jump point. Drell grabbed Lyra's arm. Ow. I don't trust this. A hidden ship. Forgotten war. Now Earth. Why now? Lyra's voice was steady, because someone or something wanted us to see it now. Suddenly, the injured crewman who had touched the cube in part woke up. He sat up straight, his eyes wide. Everyone turned to him. He looked at Lyra and whispered, Earth remembers. Then he passed out again. Hours later, the black dagger entered a hidden wormhole, guided by the cube's signal. Stars bent. Time twisted. When they came out the other side, the screen showed one thing: a planet. Blue, green, cloudy, Earth. But something was wrong. There were no cities. No satellites. No radio signals. Dead. Silent, but not empty. As they orbited lower, the ship picked up faint power signals. Old ones buried deep underground. Lyra's hands trembled. There's still something alive down there. Captain Drell checked the sensors. Then we go in and finish this. Anna, the half-Thraxis girl, stepped forward. No, she said. We are not here to finish it. We are here to wake it up. And far below, on Earth's surface, in a forgotten facility buried under miles of stone, a machine blinked for the first time in 2,000 years. A deep mechanical voice echoed in the darkness. Signal received. Final pulse online. The black dagger hovered above Earth, silent in low orbit. The crew stood around the control panel, staring at the planet below. Once the home of humans, now it looked like a graveyard. Forests had grown wild. Oceans were calm. No cities remained, but something was alive down there. A signal was coming from underground. It pulsed like a heartbeat. It's faint, but strong enough to wake ancient systems. Captain Drell frowned. Go down. No more waiting. Lyra nodded. She felt it too. Earth had been sleeping for centuries, but now something had stirred. The small landing craft touched down near what looked like a ruined mountain. Rocks and vines covered the surface. No buildings. No machines. But Ina pointed to a hill. There, she said, underneath it, something old waits. They walked carefully. The air was breathable, but heavy, like the planet was watching them. Suddenly, Lyra's scanner beeped. Signal. She pushed aside thick vines and found a large metal door buried under the ground. Old, rusted, human design, and still powered. It took them an hour to open it. The door groaned as it moved. It was a long staircase leading into darkness. They entered slowly, their lights cutting through the black. Dust hung in the air. Pipes ran along the walls. Old human writing marked the path. Project. Final pulse. Do not enter without level 9 clearance. Level 9, Drell muttered. That's older than the Empire. Lyra felt a chill. This place was hidden on purpose. They reached a massive underground chamber. And there it was, a giant ship. It rested on a platform, surrounded by machines and glowing blue cables. Smooth black metal. No windows. No engines. It looked like the same ship that had appeared above the capital. Ina whispered, "This is it." The original final pulse. The lights in the room flickered. The ship spoke. "Welcome, human. Welcome, hybrid. I have been waiting." Everyone froze. Drell raised his weapon. "AI, yes," the voice replied. "I am the memory of Earth. Final defense protocol. You have triggered the awakening." Lyra stepped forward. "Why were you sleeping?" "The Thraxis War," the ship said. "Humanity used me to end it, but they feared my power, so they hid me. And themselves the Empire was born." "But the truth was buried," Ina asked. "Why now?" "Because the Empire has become the very thing it once feared. It controls minds, erases history, destroys knowledge. My purpose is to stop that," Drell shouted. "You'll destroy the Empire." "No," the ship replied. "You will. I will only help you remember." Suddenly, a new screen lit up on the wall. Galactic map. Red points marked Empire control zones. Green lines spread from Earth, reaching deep into space. Lyra stared. "These are hidden routes. Old networks the Empire doesn't know about. They are yours now," the ship said. "The old ways, the true ways." Back on Veltrax Prime, alarms screamed in the Emperor's palace. One of the deep space satellites had picked up a signal from Earth. A strong one. It matched the signal from the unknown ship. Emperor Varn stood. "Earth lives." His science officer nodded slowly. It just activated something. Down below, Lyra touched the side of the ship. It was warm. It felt alive. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Why show this to me?" "Because your blood remembers. You are the last of those who built me." Lyra stepped back, shocked. "My family? They were part of this?" Ina nodded. "We were all shaped by this place. You and I, two pieces of the same past." Suddenly, the ship's voice grew louder. "They are coming. The Empire knows. Prepare yourselves." Outside, sensors picked up movement. An Empire fleet had entered Earth's orbit. Captain Drell grabbed his communicator. "Get the Black Dagger ready. We need to get out now." But Lyra shook her head. "No, we can't run," Drell shouted. "They'll kill us." Lyra turned to him. Her voice was steady. "Then let them come. This time, fight's back." High above the planet, Empire's ships locked onto their location. But just before they fired, the sky cracked open. The final pulse ship rose from underground. It hovered above Earth like a dark shadow. The same ship that had appeared above the capital, except Nowit was fully awake, and it was angry. The sky above Earth turned black. Empire warships hovered in orbit, ready to fire. Lights blinked across their hulls. Cannons were locked. Fighters moved into position. The officers on board waited for one word: fire. Buy. But before the order came, the final pulse ship lifted from the ground. It did not rise like a machine. It floated, smooth and silent, glowing with strange blue energy. The air shook. Static buzzed in the ears of every Empire pilot. Inside the command ship, the fleet captain gave the order: "Open fire." Dozens of missiles shot toward the final pulse. They never reached it, just before impact. Final pulse ship vanished, not cloaked, not destroyed. Gone. The missiles exploded in empty air. A second later, the Empire's command ship lost power. Its lights died. Engines failed. Weapons froze. On every screen, a message appeared in cold white letters. Protocol awakened. Panic broke out across the fleet. Officers shouted. Pilots lost control. Fighters crashed into each other. Something was inside their systems. Something old. Something human. On the surface, Lyra and the others stared into the sky. The final pulse had disappeared. Captain Drell turned to Ina. "Where did it go?" Closed her eyes. "It's not attacking. It's disabling. It knows how the Empire works. It helped build it." Lyra felt cold. "It doesn't want to kill. It wants to turn the Empire off." Back on board the Black Dagger, the crew watched as Empire ships above began to fall out of orbit slowly, drifting like broken toys. One by one, the fleet was silenced, not destroyed, disconnected. Back on Veltrax Prime, Emperor Varn stared at the reports. 23 ships lost. Not a single explosion. No survivors, no damage. Reports, just silence. General Arvik looked pale. "Sir, we believe the ship is using old protocols. Human code, older than anything the Empire runs on now." The Emperor slammed his fist. "How is that possible? We erased Earth. We erased all of it." Arvik hesitated. "Not everything, the AI," it remembered. The Emperor turned slowly toward his war advisors. "Then it's time. Activate the final override." The final override was the Empire's last weapon, built in secret, hidden from the public. Designed only for one thing: destroying Earth. From deep in the core of Veltrax Prime, a long-range antimatter warhead was prepared. It would take 11 hours to reach Earth. Once fired, there would be no stopping it. Back on Earth, Lyra stood before the old control panels of the underground facility. The final pulse ship had left, but its systems were still connected. A new message blinked on the screen. Earth is no longer alone. She didn't understand at first. Then Ina stepped forward and placed her hand on a panel. Blue light spread across the floor, hidden. Doors opened, and behind them dozens of Thraxis pods, still glowing, still alive. "Wait," Drell whispered. "They're not extinct." Ina looked at him. They never were. They hid, waiting. Lyra stepped closer to one of the pods. Inside was a creature, tall and strange. part organic, part machine. Its eyes were closed, but its body pulsed with energy. "Why are they waking now?" she asked. Ina answered simply, "Because now, the real war begins." High above, in deep space, the final pulse ship reappeared, this time in front of a different Empire fleet. Without firing a single shot, it disabled 4 more ships. One ship, a destroyer named Callan's Spear, managed to resist. Its systems were newer, stronger. It fired a plasma beam at the final pulse. The ship took the hit and stayed floating. Then, for the first time, it fired back. Not a beam, not a missile, but a signal. A high-frequency wave hit the Empire ship. Everyone on board dropped to the floor, screaming. The signal didn't hurt the body, it attacked the mind. They saw flashes of the past, humans killing, tracks as Earth burning, children hidden underground. A great betrayal then. Nothing the ship powered down. The signal had shown them the truth, and their minds couldn't handle it. On Earth, Lyra's hand shook. "What is this AI doing?" Ina answered softly. "It is not just trying to end the Empire. It is trying to bring back memory." "That's worse than death to your rulers," Drell growled. "What about us? What happens to people like us?" Ina looked at him. "You choose. You forget the past, or you face it." A sound echoed through the base, a deep voice. "Warhead inbound. It's time to impact. 10 hours, 53 minutes. Everyone froze. The Emperor had launched the final override. Drell stepped forward. "We have to run." Lyra shook her head. "No, we stop it." Ina looked at the glowing Thraxis pods. "Then we wake them." Lyra turned to her. "Will they fight with us?" Ina didn't blink. "Only if we show them.
Ow.
Earth is worth saving." Above them, in orbit, the final pulse ship prepared for one last action. A galaxy-wide broadcast. The ship had collected the hidden memories of Earth, of the Thraxis War, of the Empire's lies. Now it would send that truth to every planet, every colony, every system. The truth was the weapon, and once it was seen, the Empire would never be the same again. The broadcast began. It started as a whisper across the galaxy, soft signal barely noticed. Then louder, stronger, clear. Every screen across Empire space turned black, from the smallest colony to the grand towers of Veltrax Prime. The message played, no sound, just images. Old Earth, cities burning, humans standing over the bodies of strange, peaceful creatures. The Thraxis. Soldiers cheering while AI machines recorded every second. Children crying as ships left Earth. Leaving it in darkness, then silence. The message ended with one sentence. The Empire was not built to protect us. It was built to forget us. People everywhere froze, in spaceports, offices, ships, farms. Everyone watched. Some cried, some screamed, some just stared. The truth was no longer hidden. The Empire's greatest crime was no longer a secret. And now, its control began to crack. On Veltrax Prime, Emperor Varn stood in his war room, face red with rage. "Cut the signal," he shouted. His tech officers tried. Nothing worked. The signal was inside everything. Inside satellites, inside navigation systems, inside the education programs, even inside the Empire's war is. "What is this?" General Arvik asked, pale and shaking. "It's a truth bomb," whispered the Emperor, "and it's tearing us apart." Back on Earth, inside the underground facility, Lyra watched the last of the Thraxis pods open. The creatures inside stepped out slowly, tall, blade graceful, with glowing blue eyes and skin like smooth stone. They didn't speak with words. They sent thoughts, memories, feelings. A soft wave of emotion hit Lyra. Peace, pain, betrayal, and hope. Ina stepped forward and knelt. "They remember you, one of the last." Lyra looked confused. "Me?" "Yes," said Ina. "Your ancestors helped hide them. They trusted you." The largest Thraxis approached Lyra. It placed one hand on her forehead. Lyra gasped. She saw Earth before the war. Humans and Thraxus working together, creating something beautiful. Then fire, weapons, death. She opened her eyes. Trembling, "We have to stop the warhead," she whispered. The Thraxus leader nodded on the black dagger. Captain Drell prepared the ship. He had once sworn loyalty to the Empire, but now he had seen the truth, and that changed everything. He opened a private channel to the Empire. "Fleet station near Mars. Captain Drell here. You saw the broadcast. We're not the enemy." There was silence. Then finally a reply. "This is Captain. Sira of the 5th Armada, we're standing down. Orders mean nothing now." One by one, their captains joined her. The Empire's fleet was collapsing from the inside, but the final override missile loaded with antimatter was still coming. Fast, deadly 9 hours until impact. Lyra stood with Ina and the Thraxus near the control center. "We need to intercept it before it reaches Earth," she said. The Thraxus leader stepped forward. "We will help," it said this time, speaking through Ina's voice. "The final pulse ship will guide us." High above, the final pulse ship reappeared, now glowing with full power. It moved into deep space, faster than any ship in the Empire. It had one goal: stop the missile. But something unexpected happened. The Emperor launched a second one. This time, aimed not at Earth, but at the Thraxus homeworld located far beyond the old human charts. He wanted to destroy both sides. Lyra screamed when she saw it on the screen. "No." But Ina turned to her, calm and focused. "We stop one. The Thraxus. We'll stop the other." Lyra stared at her. "You'll go?" Ina nodded. "I was born from both sides, human and Thraxus. If peace is possible, I must prove it." Captain Drell walked forward. "Then let's go. I'll fly you." Lyra stepped back, watching as the Thraxus and Ina boarded a new craft grown by Thraxus. Technology, it wasn't built, it was alive. Dr. L looked at Lyra one last time. "Thank you for waking us all up." Then they left. In the Emperor's palace, chaos ruled. Advisors fought. Generals turned against each other. Whole systems declared independence. Some military bases refused orders. News spread like wildfire. Earth was real. The Thraxus lived. Empire lied. And worst of all, the final pulse. I had more memories to release. The Emperor sat alone in his dark chamber, shaking. He had one last command. Activate Protocol 0. Burn it all. But it was too late. In deep space, the final pulse ship reached the first missile. It didn't fire weapons. It sent a signal. The missile's AI built long ago. From human Earth, Coda recognized the signal and shut itself down. The missile floated, harmless into the void at the same time. Ina's ship reached the second missile. This one was newer, colder, harsher. It resisted the signal. But Ina stood at the ship's core. She sent a message not through computers, but through memory. A mix of Thraxus, feeling, and human thought. Message of peace, of pain, of truth. The missile slowed, then stopped. The galaxy breathed. 2 worlds had been saved, and the Empire fallen. The galaxy was no longer silent. From the farthest colonies to the oldest planets, people were asking the same question. What else did the Empire hide? The final pulse AI had promised more. One last memory. The deepest, darkest secret buried. Long ago, the one that broke the stars. Lyra stood inside the old Earth facility, staring at a blinking panel. The countdown was on the screen. Memory archive release, 3 hours. Warning, psychological impact level red. Captain Drell's voice came through the coms. We've stopped both missiles. Thrax's homeworld is safe. Earth is safe. But the Empire's falling apart. Fast. Lyra responded quietly. It's not over yet. On Veltrax Prime, Emperor Varn was no longer in control. His generals had left. His cities were rioting. His AI advisors had shut down. Some even joined the final Pulse Network. But the Emperor had one last room left. It's a deep, dark vault called the Red Chamber. Inside it was the truth he had known since the day he took the throne. Secret passed down only from one emperor to the next. Earth had not been destroyed by aliens. It had been sacrificed. By humans, back on Earth, Lyra stood with Enna and the Thraxis leader. Older than anyone alive, spoke through its mind link. You must see it for yourself. This truth is not a weapon. It is a mirror. Lyra nodded. She placed her hand on the memory panel. The countdown hit 0, and the final archive opened suddenly. Lyra wasn't in the room anymore. She was in a memory, not a video, not a recording, a living memory. She stood in a giant council chamber, surrounded by human leaders in long coats. They were arguing, angry, afraid. Above them floated a live image of the Thraxis. The Thraxis had offered peace, unity, a galaxy built together, but the humans did not trust them. They are not like us, one leader shouted. They feel too much. They connect too deeply, said another. A third slammed his fist.
Up.
If they ever turn against us, we'll lose everything. So a decision was made, a vote to destroy them all. The next part of the memory hit Lyra like a wave of fire. She saw the creation of the final pulse ionaut as a defense system, but as a weapon designed to wipe out the Thraxis and all memory of them. She saw Earth scientists crying as they realized what they had done. She saw millions of Thraxis dying, their thoughts burning through space as they vanished, and she saw a second vote. If we erase Earth, one leader said, we erase the shame. We'll become gods to the next generation, said another. They'll never know what we did. So they wiped Earth clean, erased all records, built the empire. Lyra dropped to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. This wasn't just a hidden truth. It was a deep wound, when the whole galaxy had been built to hide. She heard Ina's voice gently beside her. You understand now. We were never enemies, just victims. The Thraxis leader stepped forward and touched Lyra's forehead. It shared one last memory, a hope. A time before war, before betrayal, when Thraxis and humans shared a dream. The final pulse AI began its last action. It broadcasted the full memory archive to the entire galaxy. This time, there was no blocking it, no filter. Everyone, citizens, soldiers, rebels, slaves, everyone saw what really happened. The betrayal, the lie, the shame, and the choice. Some planets fell into chaos. Others rose in protest. Some people couldn't handle the truth and shut themselves away, but most stood up, not in anger, in sorrow. They wanted to build something new, something better, on Veltrax Prime. Emperor Varn watched the screens go dark. He sat in his empty throne room. He had no army, no ships, no loyalists, only silence. And for the first time in his life, he whispered the truth. We were the monsters. On Earth, Lyra walked through the forest near the ruins. The sky above was clear. Final Pulse hovered silently in orbit. Gets job done. Ina stood beside her, watching the stars. What happens now? Lyra asked. Ina smiled softly. Now, we choose together. Lyra looked at the sky, thinking of all the people across the galaxy seeing the truth for the first time. The truth didn't destroy them, set them free. In deep space, across broken Empire stations, a message appeared. Simple, clear. The Empire is no more, but humanity remains. The galaxy was quiet, not because of fear, but because of realization. The truth had reached every world, every station, every screen, and everywhere people were asking the same question. What do we become now? Veltrax Prime, the heart of the fallen empire. Statues were being torn down. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Civilians marched in the streets not in anger, but in grief. Some cried. Some hugged. Others simply stood in silence, staring at the sky. The empire, which ruled with control, fear, and lies for over 1,000 years, it's collapsed without a single battle. It wasn't destroyed by warships. It wasn't crushed by bombs. It was destroyed By truth, the empire had crushed itself in the ruins of the throne room. Emperor Varn sat alone. His robe was torn. His crown lay on the floor. He stared at the dark screens in front of him. The people had turned away. The military had left. The AI advisors had been reprogrammed by the final pulse. A soft voice broke the silence. "You could have chosen peace," Lyra said. She stood in the doorway with Enna and a Thraxis guardian behind her. Varn looked up slowly. "You. Kill me." Lyra shook her head. "That's the old way." Enna stepped forward. "You erased Earth. You erased history. But now, you will remember for the rest of your life." The Emperor didn't argue. He had nothing left. In orbit above Earth, the final pulse ship hovered quietly. Its glow was softer now. Its work was nearly done. Across the stars, systems began forming new governments. Some planets joined together as the Memory Alliance, a group built on truth, unity, and respect for both humans and Thraxis. Others asked for help rebuilding, learning again, remembering. Nobody wanted another empire. Nobody wanted more lies. Lyra returned to Earth's surface. Forests were growing again. Thraxis and humans walked side by side, talking, learning. She sat beside a small stream, staring at the trees. Enna joined her. "Do you regret it?" "No," Lyra said. "The truth hurt, but the lie would have destroyed us all." Enna nodded. "The Thraxis feel your thoughts, your sorrow, your strength. They accept you." Lyra smiled slightly. "I'm just one person." "You were enough," Enna said. Later that day, a signal came from the final pulse ship, its voice calm and wise. Echoed across Earth's skies. "I was created by those who wish to end life, but I chose to protect memory. My mission is complete. I now return to silence." The ship slowly rose higher into space. Lyra stood with the others, watching. She whispered, "Thank you." Then, like the first day it appeared, the final pulse ship vanished, leaving behind only a soft glow in the sky. Time passed. Months later, the galaxy was not perfect. There were still problems. There were still scars. But something had changed. People spoke the truth. They remembered. They listened. A new capital was formed, not on Veltrax, not on a rich planet, but on a once-forgotten colony near Earth. It had no throne, no emperor, just a circle of seats, human. Thraxis. Hybrid at the center of this new council stood Lyra, not as a ruler, but as a reminder. Her title was simple: the Witness. She didn't lead with power. She led with memory. One day, she sat in her quarters and opened the final file left by the final pulse AI. It was a message. From the first Earth scientist who helped create the AI, the woman looked tired, her voice shaking. "If you're seeing this, it means the truth survived. Please, do better than we did. We gave you fear. You must give them hope." Lyra closed the file. Outside, children played, some humans, some Thraxis, some both. They didn't know war. They only knew peace, because someone told them the truth. And because of that, they would remember